confidence and concerns, cons and cons. What we do is we take different subjects. Today will be the 4 ACC basketball teams from the state of North Carolina, and we name what we are most confident in and what we are most concerned about. For ACC basketball, we go in reverse order of the podium, starting with Duke, who was off the podium this week. They got a win last night against Louisville. Dennis, I have good news and bad news. Which do you want first?
Bad news?
You always take the bad news. What are you concerned about when it comes to Duke?
To me, it's mental toughness and that killer instinct. I know you're going to go killer instinct on this one. I knew 100%.
It's been weeks. It's the only thing I've been mentioning for them.
But I will say, in terms of mental toughness, this kind of ties in your killer instinct. The fact that you had an 11-point lead at halftime, and right at the start of the second half, we're like, hey, guys, let's get this thing to 20 and bury this team right away. You let Louisville creep back into, I think it was 4 or 5, and you had 2.5 minutes into the second half, Shire calling a timeout. I was like, you guys, like, wait a second, like that to me, that's some mental toughness that's kind of lacking right there. When things aren't going their way, how do you find other ways to contribute? Like, okay, you know what, my shot's not going down today. What can I do? Can I rebound well? What can I do off ball defense? Whatever it might be. And not seeing that from this team. It's such peaks and valleys. There's no consistency, I feel, from this team.
It's, you know how when people talk about the thing you can't describe with quarterbacks, there's 900 different names for it. It's the X factor. It's poise. It's the it factor. It's whatever. It's clutch. It's that freaky quarterback thing. It's the same way with what I'm trying to describe with Duke. It's killer instinct. It's edge. It's how you just described it. It's fiery. Like, whatever it is, Duke is lacking it. It's not talent. They're not lacking talent. It's not shooting. They're not lacking shooting. I guess you could say there's a little bit of size that they're lacking, right? They'd love to have a Derek Lively. They'd love to have, but who wouldn't? They'd love to have a 7-footer that could defend and rebound. But, I mean, there's teams all over college basketball that don't have multiple 7-footers that find a way to be tough down low, that find a way to level up when the moment is calling for it. I just want this, looking at Duke, I find myself every time I watch them wishing the same thing. I wish they would get angry. Play angry. Play like, it must have been on social media somewhere. I saw the pregame huddle before Kobe Bryant's final game on the Lakers. Mm-hmm. And whoever was the person that normally spoke in the middle of the huddle said, like, hey, it's Mamba Day on 3. 1, 2, 3. They all went Mamba Day. And Kobe said, whoa. Play hard. What is going on? My last game, like, the thing you can do for me is play to exhaustion every single play. Play like we played on the pickup courts when we were kids. And the pickup courts stuck out to me, right? Because what happens on the pickup courts when you're kids? Somebody says something slick, and you're not thinking like, oh, I'm going to come down here and make the right basketball play. You're coming down here thinking, I'm going to embarrass that guy that just said something slick to me, right? You're not thinking like, oh, if they double me, I'm going to pass out of it, right? You're thinking if they double me, I'm going to hit the shot anyway, and I'm going to let them know. Now, I'm not saying you go completely rogue and you just look at John Shire like, forget good basketball, I'm getting mine. But I am kind of saying make sure you get yours. Like, I am.
Yeah, it's a mentality.
Yeah.
It's a mentality. It's like, you know what? If the plays run for me, like, hey, if I'm Filipowski and I'm backed up there in the post, like, you're darn right I'm going to put the move on you, and I'm dunk on you. I'm going to stare you down while I do it.
We saw a little bit of it from Proctor last night.
We did.
There was a step in the right direction. Proctor used his handles, got some guys going in the wrong direction, got some old school and one mixtape tour. Ooh, like that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And then he took the shot right after. Made one of them, missed one of them, but still.
Even if you miss, still bring that mentality.
Yeah, exactly. What are you confident in for Duke?
I'm still pretty confident in their backcourt. Okay. Because here's the thing. If Proctor plays, I mean, I'm sure he's not going to score 24 every single night, but if he could be a consistent 16, 17, 18-point guy that's a threat to hit 3-3-pointers from the outside every single night, I know Jeremy Roach is a little banged up, but then I think it alleviates some of the pressure off of freshmen like Foster and McCain. So if you're able to go 4 deep at guard with Proctor, Foster, McCain, and Roach, I like their backcourt depth. And I think sometimes they can actually get really good matchups because a lot of those guys can all handle the ball as well. So it's not on just one guy in order to handle the ball and bring the ball to the floor.
My confidence is Mark Mitchell.
Okay.
Mark Mitchell in the last 4 or 5 games has been a revelation. And one of them he missed with an injury. He's kind of pulling his, the double weight here, which is something they desperately needed, is that second big who's comfortable battling down low a little bit more and grabbing the rebounds when Filipowski wants to go do his perimeter thing.
And he's not afraid to go at you either.
No, not at all. Last night, I think there were 3 Duke players that I was watching going, yes, more of that. One was Proctor, when offensively he was trying to make him look bad. One was Mitchell, specifically down low. And one was Sean Stewart, who's another big that came off the bench. He had a couple blocks where I was like, ooh, where did that come from? But Mitchell is the one doing it most consistently right now. He has, 3 double-doubles in the last 5 or something like that, and 2 of them are 20-point double-doubles. That's what I'm looking for. I like a guy that's that aggressive, so that's what I'm confident in. In case you can't tell, I like competitors that compete, right? I like competitive. What a way to describe that, Tim.
Hey, there you go.
I like runners that run. I like competitors that compete. But I like when it's very obvious you care, you're taking it seriously, it's intense, and you're going to go, dunk on somebody. Let's go to NC State. NC State, what are you most concerned with the Wolfpack?
I don't know what their identity is as a team. Like if you were to describe NC State basketball right now, how would you describe it? I can't. That's the thing. It's like, I don't know. Are you a perimeter scoring team? Are you a team that plays fast? Like what are you? Are you like a tough physical team? I don't know. We've seen bits and pieces of all those things throughout the season, but never as a whole for one true game, I feel like. That's the thing. I think this team lacks an identity. My
concern is see, I like because as I say many weeks, Dennis and I do not confer with each other before this. If we do not, actually. If we hit on the same concern or the same confidence, that's organic, and if we're way different, that's organic too. I like it when one of us goes like with the abstract, and one of us goes like very literal X's and O's.
Yes,
you're like, they don't know who they are. they need to find.
I'll go X's and O's.
They need to find themselves, and then I'm like, they're not shooting the 3 well enough.
Well, there's that.
I'm concerned with the shooting. Morcell woke up a little bit, but he has not been what he was last year. DJ Horn shoots it well at times. Other than that, there's really no one shooting the 3 well. And in modern basketball, if you can't space the floor, especially when you have someone like DJ Burns who needs space, he's got vision, he can pass, he has footwork in the post. I just don't know if they're shooting well enough. Which could be part of that identity crisis you're talking about, right? They came into the season thinking, hey, we've got the floor spacers, and now they don't, and they're going, oh no, who are we? It's a shooting thing for me, and maybe it's a rhythm and rotation thing, right? Maybe guys aren't getting into a rhythm because their roles are a little inconsistent because they've got so many guys that could be the hot hand on any given night. But I'm just concerned that not enough shots from 3 are going in, which is always a problem in modern basketball. What are you confident in?
To me, I still think they have really good depth on their roster.
Yep.
That's also like the puzzling thing is like you have so many good, talented players, and I really think the roster is really good. They just haven't put it together yet. But I think when they actually finally do, when things click for this team, watch out because their depth in the backcourt. I think they do lack a true wing player because I think it's either perimeter guards or post guys down low. There's no actual true wing player I feel for their team. I mean, Dennis Parker Jr. is kind of that, but 6'6" as a freshman, it's kind of hard to ask him to be that. But to me, they have the talent and the depth in order to go at anybody when it comes to a tournament. They can match up in anybody. They can adjust their style. They have the dudes to do it. Just wait for them to fully put it together. But I really do love their depth.
Now, this time you go X's and O's. I'm going to go abstract.
Okay.
I really like Casey Morcell's mindset. I spoke to him this week on our Pack Therapy podcast, which can be found everywhere podcasts can be found. He is a fifth-year senior who I think you could drop him on a pro roster. He would fit in from a maturity standpoint. Just speaking with him, it was very much, right, he's in the middle of a shooting season, as I just went over. That is not probably what he expected all offseason and started in a slump. But he has so much other responsibility on his plate, right? He has He has to lead a team with a bunch of new faces. He has other guys that are struggling and are looking to him as a leader, and he had his head on straight. It's there's a few players throughout like my ACC watching basketball career where you hear them talk, you hear them interact, and you're like, okay, they could go play in the NBA, right? They could go play overseas and make a bunch of money. Or they could be like vice president of the United States, right? It's like
good point.
Battier was kind of that way when he was at Duke. I'm not going to name them all. There's a bunch. Casey Morsell kind of struck me as that, where I'm like, I would like him to be a guard on my team in the clutch, but I'd also probably vote for him. So Morsell's mindset is what I'm confident in. Let's jump to the Demon Deacons. Wake Forest. What are you concerned with for Wake?
It's defense. Teams score a lot against this team. They don't seem to really, when they need to have a defensive stop, just go back to last week when they played NC State. They had the lead. They just needed a couple stops on defense, and they could have pulled that game away, but they were unable to do so. To me, defense for that team is really what's lacking right now.
Mine is not, I have in my notes not playing up to their potential. Mm-hmm. That's not what it is. It's the discrepancy between how good they look and their production. When I watch Wake play, I watch them, and I think if you turn the scoreboard off, or if you can play with the format on your TV sometimes, and you can't see the score bug at the bottom, and it's really frustrating. If you were to do that, so you get the square TV on the rectangular television, and it's you can't see the score bug, I'd watch it, and I think they're winning most of their game.
They look good.
they look good. It's like, oh, geez, the big guy can shoot. Oh, they have all these guards. Oh, look, they got a 7-footer down there playing defense, and Forbes is got him playing. It appears well, and then you watch the end of the game, and you're like, wait, they've lost 3 of their last 5? There's a discrepancy here between how good I think they are, what their potential could be, and I'm like feuding internally because I'm like, I watch them, they pass the eye test, but we all know the famous phrase, right? You are what your record says you are. So there's my concern is that just they aren't. It's like a golfer that makes 4 good shots and then misses a putt that's kind of understandable to miss, and then you make the next one and it's a bogey, and it's like you didn't play bad, but it's a bogey, and if you do that 18 times, you're 18 over par. You never played bad, but your final score isn't good, right? I'm watching Wake going, I think they played well most of the game, and then it's like, yeah, but they kind of got smacked in the second half all over the place by R.J. Davis.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's the refs were weird in the NC State game, and but Andrew Carr had almost 30 points.
Yeah, 28.
And then Miller had 15, 16 free throws and made them all. And it's like, yeah, but they lost. So it's a really tough one for me to pin down. I don't like that discrepancy. What's your confidence for Wake?
They can score.
Yep.
That's the thing. They get into these high scoring games, and that's the thing. They can run with anybody, but again, they give up too much on the defensive end. But they have the guys I think the balance on their roster to score. Especially with Monsanto coming back now, having played in a couple games. That's another 3-point guy. If Hildreth in the backcourt, Carr, Efton Reed at center, when those guys are all working together, those guys can fill up the bucket with the best of them. They really can.
My confidence is depth. I think they, especially with their guys coming back, they've had two players come back off injury. It's not like they had a short rotation prior to that. I think they go 8 or 9 deep legitimately in the ACC. That helps because you're going to have injury, you're going to have guys getting foul trouble, you're going to have guys going cold. As long as everybody can understand their role, I think they're set up well, which is obviously a credit to the program. Let's quickly run through UNC here because there is something kind of interesting I want to talk about. UNC, what's your concern?
My concern for them is, do you get to the point where you're just so far ahead of everybody that things just get kind of easy and you let off the throttle?
Mine's similar, but it's coming from a different angle. I'm worried they won't be battle tested coming out of the ACC.
They tested themselves early this season with the non-conference, but yeah, in the ACC, not
But over
so
the
much.
last month is really when they've hit their stride.
Mm-hmm.
That's also when they've hit the meat of their ACC schedule.
True.
They did lose back-to-back games to UConn and Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
That's testing themselves. Don't get me that. I mean, I'm not knocking them for losing to two very good programs, and they were both healthier then. But by the end, by March, it's going to be a lot of months of ACC foes, and you can lull yourself to sleep a little bit. What are you confident in?
To me, it's their transition offense. One thing that you see.
Why did you say that like you're Charlotte Hornets?
I mean, did I? Their
transition offense?
Their transition offense. Because when you watch them play, whether it's off a defensive rebound or a steal, they're crossing midcourt. And there's still like 27, 26 seconds left on the shot clock, and they're already not only just crossing the midcourt line, they're actually near the three-point line, threatening to even get inside the paint. Their ability to play fast, we actually saw against Wake Forest, they weren't crashing the rebounds as hard. Wake Forest wasn't, because they're afraid of UNC's transition defense, which allowed for Harrison Ingram to get 14 defensive rebounds in that game. To me, it's their transition offense, and it all starts on the defensive end for them.
My confidence is their veteran calm urgency. Is that an oxymoron? Calm urgency?
Yes. Like jumbo shrimp?
Yeah, jumbo shrimp, instant classic. I mean, there's a lot of them. Mm-hmm. They could be up by 18, and then the lead's down to 5, and I go, I hate this for them. And then they're calm, right? They don't panic, but they understand the urgency to get it back up to double figures right away, and they usually do. Usually it goes down to 5, it goes down to 6, and then you blink your eye and it's 14 and everything's back to normal. I like how they react in those situations. I don't like that they need it, but I like that they have it.